All right, listen up. This is a Code Ninja security advisory. We're issuing a critical briefing for all network defenders concerning SolarWinds Web Help Desk. We've got a new, severe vulnerability, and the situation is escalating by the minute.
The vulnerability is being tracked as CVE 2025-40551. It's been slapped with a CVSS score of 90.8 out of 10. For those of you on the front lines, you know exactly what that means. This is an unauthenticated remote code execution vulnerability of the highest possible severity. Yeah, it is about as bad as it gets.
And let me be crystal clear, this is not a drill. This isn't some theoretical risk we're talking about. The gap between disclosure and active exploitation has completely vanished. The U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, that's CISA, has officially confirmed this flaw is being used in attacks right now. The threat is live.
This quote from the initial research just nails the danger here. It says running this software is like sitting on a Java deserialization time bomb. An attacker can trigger this thing remotely, without any credentials, and get full system compromise. As we're about to see, the timer on that bomb has already hit 0.
Okay, before we break down the anatomy of this exploit, it is absolutely vital we ensure our communication lines are open. Threats like this move way faster than patch cycles, so getting this intelligence in real time isn't a nice-to-have. It's a mission requirement for every defender.
So here is our comms protocol. First, make sure you're subscribed with alerts activated. That's how you get these briefings the second they drop. Second, acknowledge you've received this advisory so we know the message is getting through. And third, and this is critical, report your patch status in the comments. This isn't for engagement, it's to help the entire defensive community get a handle on the blast radius of this threat.
All right, comms established. Moving to Section 1, Threat Analysis. Understanding the anatomy of this exploit is crucial, because if you don't know what you're looking for, you're never going to find it on your network.
So the vulnerability is a CWE 502, deserialization of untrusted data. In plain English, the application is being tricked into rebuilding a malicious object from data an attacker sends it. And because the app blindly trusts this data, it ends up executing commands it was never, ever supposed to. This class of weakness is consistently one of the most dangerous ones out there.
So, what's the blast radius? We are talking complete system compromise. An attacker doesn't need a username, doesn't need a password, and doesn't need a user to click a single link. They can take over the server, steal your data, destroy your data, and use it as a launchpad to move deeper into your network. This is a perfect front door for ransomware gangs.
So how do they pull it off? The core of the exploit is a simple but just devastating bypass. The application security check only scans requests sent to a path containing /Ajax/. The attackers figured out they can just change that path to /W/ and walk right past the security guard. This simple change causes the sanitation logic to be skipped entirely, delivering the malicious payload directly to the vulnerable code. And again, this isn't some theoretical vulnerability. Let's move to Section 2, Active Exploitation. This timeline shows just how quickly this became a weapon for attackers. I mean, just look at this. SolarWinds releases the patch on January 28th. Within 24 to 48 hours, the security community is already tearing it apart. But by February 3rd, that's just 6 days later, CISA confirms attackers are already using it. That is an incredibly narrow window for defenders to react. The deadline for federal agencies was February 6th. The clock was ticking.
And CISA's directive really underscores the severity. When a federal agency is given only 3 days to patch a vulnerability, you know it's an emergency. This isn't a routine update, it's a mandate to prevent imminent and ongoing attacks against critical infrastructure.
So, what is the Blue Team's mission right now? Let's move to Section 3, Blue Team Response. This is your protocol for remediation and threat hunting.
Your priorities are clear, and they are non-negotiable. Priority 1, update to version 2026.1. This is the only permanent fix. If you absolutely cannot patch right this second, your second priority is to isolate the machine. Take it off the public internet, use a VPN, use firewall rules, but cut off external access. And third, whether you've patched or not, you must assume compromise and begin threat hunting. Here are your primary indicators of compromise. In your network traffic, search for HTTP requests containing the Java serialization magic bytes. That's ACE0005. That is a huge red flag. On the host, monitor your process genealogy. The Web Help Desk's Java process should not be spawning command shells or PowerShells.
If you see that, you have likely been popped. Finally, check your application logs for deserialization errors or suspicious JNDI lookups, which are often abused by attackers.
And finally, Section 4, the disclosure code. Let's be very clear about why we're issuing this public advisory.
We operate under the principle of coordinated vulnerability disclosure. The vendor has released a patch, but the threat actors are not waiting. They are actively exploiting this flaw, and CISA has confirmed it. At this point, silence only helps the attackers. Our duty is to the defenders on the front lines, and they need this intelligence to protect their networks. Now,
The exploit is in the wild. The theoretical patch window is over. The only question that matters for your organization is this: is your perimeter secure?
Stay secure.